This is a Victoria Line train to Walthamstow Central.
Come on.
I set up about 4 years ago, yeah, but this shop has been here over 50 years. I sell varieties of things like cosmetics, toiletries, household stuff. If you can see the soaps down there and just a little bit of makeup. Who comes to my shop? Everyone. You have people from Africa, Jamaica, you have English, you have people from all over. But there is something in the shop that everybody knows. So you have different people come and buy what they want. Yes. Well, this is what they call camphor. It's a thing that older people use to help them with the arthritis pain. They put this in a jar, put olive oil over it, and when it dissolves, they will use it as an ointment. So I know this from I was a little child.
I know this gentleman 16 years. My ex-boss used to cut his hair, so when he left, obviously he's retired, so I took it over. So I'm doing him now. My dad teach me. My dad. Yeah, he was a barber. No, not here, back home, you know. I'm from Algeria. It's a family business. I start with the cleaning the shop, sweeping up, washing people's hair, and after, start slowly. We use mainly machine, comb, obviously, scissors. My scissors is very expensive. Not very, but it's £200. You can't joke with my scissors. Very sharp. Without them, I can't do nothing.
The business was originally founded by the original James Smith. People would ring a bell and come and buy an umbrella, and he would make it behind and serve them. People would be passing by and look to buy stuff, and it'd be passed out through the window. They didn't even need to come into the shop. So they had fast service. You know, McDonald's has got nothing, you know. Our customers now, instead of just being local trade, we get a lot of tourists, which has been very helpful to us, otherwise we wouldn't be open today. And it makes a big difference if it rains as well.
I'm more or less the umbrella maker for James Smith & Sons, and I make all the hardwoods and the expensive umbrellas. I came in 15 years ago, and I'm still here. We start with a stick, which is, this stick's actually maple, so I actually cut the slots in where the springs will be, and then from that I'll make springs up from a bit of wire which I've cut, a certain tempered wire, and I actually shape it, make the springs, fit them in, and then make the rest of the umbrella. That is a tool specially made by us. It's a bit like a chisel. We've actually grinded it down, and this is what I use because it's quite thin to gouge out in between. Every day we'll use the buffing machine to polish the wood, and the sander, it's used pretty often. We use the Dremel. It's a fine drill which is here. We put different bits on the end of it. It's like a sanding bit, or we can put a little thin drill bit, so we can use that for drilling. If I'm not disturbed, I can make maybe 10 in a day, which is pretty quick.
The company's been here for around 30, 40 years. Traditionally, we are an upholstery company. We do supply upholstery foams and rubbers and so on and so forth. A lot of customers are bringing their older cushions that are gone flat or whatever, and then we refill the covers. There's so many different foam. A lot of this foam, for instance, this one here is used for, this is a packaging foam. The colours are basically colour coded, so you can just look and you know basically what density you've got without having to look it up. There is a language of foam. It's quite diverse, this business, so a lot of it we do supply like film companies and set makers, for instance, so they'll come along and they'll buy certain pieces of foam or rubber matting, and we use this one here. This is a reticulated foam, which is basically a filter foam. A lot of the puppet makers and that type of thing use this. It's quite a strong, very strong foam, and it breathes. So a lot of the companies do make this for costumes, Mr. Blobby costumes and things like that. Expanded neoprene cord. A lot of students come along to us. Fashion students, art students, architecture students. They all buy all these different materials and make a lot of things with them.
I started up the shop about 18 years ago. You know, I worked for other people in the past, but I decided that I wanted to do it for myself, so I just got an empty shop. We do lots of wedding dresses, alterations, repairs, redesigning. I do a lot of vintage things as well. So we do all sorts. There's nothing we don't do, actually. I just taught myself, really, because I was always passionate about it. I always loved creative work. So I used the skills that I had. We use scissors, we use rulers and chalk. We use normal flat machines, overlockers, felling machines, and what else do we use? Pins for pinning up the garments. Tape measure, I would say tape measure, but I don't need a tape measure most of the time now, because I can actually, because I've been doing it for so long, I can measure with my eyes now. So I can sort of say that that is about 4 inches, you know, that's about an inch. Now that's a tool I can't do without, is a calculator, and recently my spell check.
Cobbler's Lodge is shoe repairers, key cutters. We also do bag repairs, stitching, leather jackets and bits and pieces like that. I've owned this business since 1999, so that's about 16 odd years or so. This rather large and a bit dirty machine that I have here is a standard shoe repairing machine. We have the heel trimmers, it's a sole trimmer. Then we have the brushes here. The modern day waxes that we use, like this sort of thing here, work on friction. So basically the friction here creates heat, the wax melts into the leather and smooths down all the rough tissues and fibres to make it a nice smooth surface, and the brush here just to finish it off. This was for smoothing off leather soles or around the heel. We have the key cutting machines. This machine that we have here is called a cylinder machine. This one will do things like the standard Yales, which is pretty standard on most people's doors. We will take it out of the clamp and just go over it on the wire brush, just to smooth off all of the bits like so, so that it's nice and smooth to the touch. And that's it. A nice perfect copy of the key.
My name is Alex. I am a baker. I have a small business called Today Bread, where I make sourdough bread. every day for shops and restaurants. That is made just of flour and water, so it's very basic and simple and natural. The main tools I use are the scale, this one, which is a thermometer, which tells me the temperature of the room and the time and the humidity as well. This will have an influence on how fast or slow the dough is going to raise or develop, because the warmer it is, then the faster the development. That's the dough cutter, so that's why I used to cut the dough. This is to take the flour, so I have 2 bags of flour, there should be one in there. So that's the one I use for rye flour. This is light rye flour. I also have this, which I use to clean the oven. I use a sieve to dust flour on top of some of the bread sometimes. This one as well. Steam is very important for making bread. So basically we're adding humidity in the oven. Usually it takes about 3 days to make bread. I studied as a graphic designer. I was interested in communication. Basically communication is how to, or for me was how to make friends, so how to make people communicate. And then I found out the French word for friend, copain, is companis, means with bread, so the origin of the word means with bread. So a friend is someone you share bread with, basically.